Pranam Swamiji.
Namaste, namaste, namaste.
This is our 24th class of Mundakopanishad with Swamiji. In our last session, Swamiji started the second chapter of Mundakopanishad. We are now in chapter 2, section 1, mantra 2. I welcome everyone here. The last half hour will be kept aside for questions and answers with Swamiji. Today, Mrs. Ajita Chandramohan will chant 2 Shanti mantras. Ajita.
Om Bhadram Karnebhi Shruniyama Devaha Bhadram Pashimakshibhiryajatraha Stirai Rangai Tushtuvan Sastanubhi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swastina Indro Vridrashravaha Swastina Pusham Vishwavedaha Swastina Stakshyo Arishtanemihi Swastino Brihaspati Dadatu Om Shanti 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 Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavati Tamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryandam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Bhadram Karnebhi Shrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashimakshibhiryajatraha Stirai Rangai Tushtuvam Sastanubhir Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swastina Indro Vriddhashravaha Swastina Pusha Vishwavedaha Swastina Starkshyo Arishtaneme Swastino Brihaspati Dadhatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Again, a small gap came in the continuity of our classes. However, in our last satsanga, we had seen the first mantra in the first khanda of second mundaka. There it was said, from the imperishable existence, all manifestations are coming, just as sparks and flames come from or manifest from well-flamed fire. So there is no difference at all. Different types of manifestations as flames are nothing but the fire itself. And if we are taking spulingaha as to mean spark, then also it is fire itself. So fire is getting manifested in different forms. But fire is fire. In the same way, the akshara, that is imperishable, it is being manifested in different forms. All the jivas, Ishvara and Jagat, all are different manifestations. So all the phenomenal planes are manifesting from the very base existence absolute, which is imperishable. That is the first mantra. Now we can go to the second mantra. See, divyo hyamūrtaḥ puruṣaḥ bāhyābhyantaro hyajaḥ aprāṇo hyamanāḥ śubhro hyakṣarātparataḥ paraḥ. Divyo hyamūrtaḥ puruṣaḥ bāhyābhyantaro hyajaḥ aprāṇo hyamanāḥ śubhro hyakṣarātparataḥ paraḥ. Let us break the words first. Divyaha, he, amūrtaḥ, puruṣaḥ, bāhyābhyantaraḥ, he, ajaḥ, aprāṇah, he, amanāḥ, śubhraḥ, he, hyakṣarātparataḥ paraḥ. Divyaha, divyaha, effulgent. Divyaha is effulgent. Or divine. Divine or effulgent. It comes from the dhatu div. Meaning of that dhatu is light or effulgence. Deepti. Divu, deeptau. That is the root. That is the dhatu. See, from this dhatu comes such terms as deva, daiva, devi, all these shabdas are derivations of this dhatu divu. So it would mean the effulgent being. The effulgent being. Upanishad often repeats one mantra. Tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. And tameva bhandam anubhati sarva. That is, that effulgent being, it is giving light to all, or effulgence to all manifestations. Whichever be the source of light, all of them are depending on that primary source of light. Or whatever exists in this universe, all those existences are because of that existence absolute. So because of that, everything else exists. That is, tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. So here it is said, divyaha, effulgent being. That which is self-effulgent, and that which gives effulgence to all other manifestations. That is divyaha. Or divya is divine, celestial. Divyaha. He, verily, hyamūrtaḥ, one without form. Mūrtaḥ is one with form. Mūrtaḥ. Hyamūrtaḥ means one without form. Having form means the being is limited by space. Whatever be that. One having form means it is limited by space. I'm saying, I am Swami Chidananda Puri. This is the body. So meaning this body, I am saying Swami Chidananda. I am Swami Chidananda. This eyes is this. And when I am here, I am not there. When I am there, I am not here. So whatever be that, with form means it is limited by space. Here, hyamūrtaḥ, having no form. That is not limited by space. Hyamūrtaḥ. Then puruṣaḥ. There are many meanings. Purushu shete idi puruṣaḥ. One who is residing in all bodies. He is puruṣaḥ. Purushu adhava puruṣu shete idi puruṣaḥ. That is one who is residing in all bodies. Whichever be the body. Be it Manushya Sharira, or some Deva Sharira, or some other bodies. What is there inside? I am. Who is that? So one who is residing inside the body or in the body is puruṣaḥ. Purushu shete. And we must understand that, or we must remember that. In all bodies, this puruṣaḥ is residing as the existence. So, according to the differences in the manifestations, everything may change outwardly. Transactions may differ, and the mode of manifestation differ, but the existence is the same. So one who is residing in all puris, all bodies, he is puruṣaḥ. There is still more higher meaning. That is purnam anena sarvam iti puruṣaḥ. Bhagavan Bhashyakara, at different occasions, he writes so in the Bhashyas. What is the meaning of puruṣaḥ? Purnam anena sarvam iti puruṣaḥ. Bhagavan Bhashyakara would repeat. That is, by which everything is pervaded, or by which everything is full. He is puruṣaḥ. It's the all-pervading principle. And it is by puruṣaḥ all these manifestations are there. The Purnam Anena Sarva, by which everything is filled. If I am saying I am here, and those who are hearing this are saying I am, I am. And when I refer somebody else, I say you are, or they are. That is, this is. What is giving existence to all this? What is this easiness? How I am. Just think that. So that puruṣaḥ is giving, or that existence absolute is giving existences to all the manifestations. That is puruṣaḥ, the all-pervading principle. So divyo hyamūrtaḥ puruṣaḥ. Next word is bāhyābhyantaro. Bāhyābhyantaro means bāhyah plus abhyantara. One who is sabahya and at the same time sabhyantara is bāhyābhyantaro. Bāhyah means bāhyah is outside. Abhyantara means inside. So one with outside is bāhyah, one with inside is sabhyantara. So he is both. That means all-pervading. Tad dure tad dvandike tad antarasya sarvasya adu sarvasyasya bāhyatah. So says Ishavasya. It is everywhere outside and it is everywhere inside. So there is no difference at all. You cannot differentiate inside and outside because he is all-pervading. Everywhere. Omnipresent. Bāhyābhyantaro. So omnipresent means not limited by space, not limited by time. These are two limitations, time and space. So what is not limited by time and space is the omnipresent. That is bāhyābhyantaro. He, again, he is used to assert. It is assertive. There is no doubt in what I am declaring. So to show that what I am saying is my own conviction, and there is no doubt in that. So I am speaking from my own experience to show that he is repeated here. He means well, really, without doubt, for sure. So he ajaḥ, he ajaḥ, he plus ajaḥ. Ajaḥ is one without birth. Birth is beginning. So ajaḥ means one without a beginning. But begins will end. If there is birth, invariably death must be there. So hyajaḥ means one without birth and death. Ajāyate mriyadeva. That do not have birth and death. Hyajaḥ, janmarahitaḥ, without a birth. Aprāṇah, aprāṇah, without prana. Prana is the vital force, the vital energy with which we are living here, and because of which all other instruments in this body, mind, intellect complex is working. So all the other instruments are working because of prana. And prana is the vital energy or vital force. So aprāṇah means without prana. Or we can say it is not prana. So one without prana is aprāṇah. At the same time, to say it is not prana, we can use aprāṇah. Who am I? Or what is the existence? Of course, as we are limited by this body, we will start inquiry from this body. Is this I am? No, this is not. This is an object which is seen and experienced by me. And I am the seer and the experiencer. And this is constantly changing. Whereas I am not changing. And I am seeing those, or I am experiencing those changes. So this is not I am. Then who am I? Again, inquiry goes. It enters more inner sphere. And then the question comes, senses. There are senses of cognition and organs of action. Are they me? No. They also are instruments. And I'm experiencing through them. I am working through them. So still more deeper I am going. And now I reaches the mind. Is this me? No, this also is instrument. Constantly changing. Having many emotions, this, that. Having growth and decay. Then who am I? So that in that quest for realizing the existence, at a certain stage, we will reach at the vital energy, vital force, because of which all other senses, organs, body parts, all these are functioning. And when this prana, it goes out from this body, then this body is no more functioning. It is dead. So we may think this is the absolute. This is the reality. This is the existence. So prana is the śubhro. So to negate that, no, prana also is an instrument. It is not the absolute. Prana also have birth and death. That is a beginning and an end. Atmana prāṇo jāyate, etasmāt jāyate prāṇah. So many mantras are there in the Shruti. Atmana yasha prāṇo jāyate. So this also is me, not me. So to negate that, aprāṇah, which is not prana, he is not prana, aprāṇah, or as we have seen earlier, one without prana. That also is aprāṇah. In the same way, we have to understand the next word, hyamānāḥ. That is one without mind, or that which is not the mind. Two meanings are there. One without mind. See, all this mind, intellect, prana, body, senses, all these are there when we are in the jivatma bhava. When the jivatma bhava. That is limited by all these elements. And having ego. Then only all these instruments have to be considered. The existence absolute, the Atma, is never dependent on either prana or manas. So one without manas, hyamānāḥ, or that which is not the manas. That which is not the manas. Hyamānāḥ, aprāṇo hyamanāḥ, śubhro. The verbal meaning is śubhro, glowing white. Śubhro. Always shining. Śubhro, always shining. Pure, glowing white. All these are the meanings of the term śubhro. That means it is without even a scar of avidya, ignorance. And it is shining always within and without. Inside and outside it is shining. As existence, as knowledge, as bliss. Śubhro. This term is repeated at many places in the Upanishad. Many Upanishads, we can see the same word being repeated. Śubhro. Show that it is pure and glowing without a scar of avidya, ignorance, untouched by ignorance. So avidya is depending on that. Vidya is depending on that. Both vidya and avidya, that is maya and avidya, are depending on that. But that is not depending on avidya or maya. Because it is the existence absolute, free from all limitations and dependencies. aprāṇo hyamanāḥ śubhro. He, verily, there's no doubt. hyakṣarātparataḥ paraḥ. Paraḥ, above or higher. Higher than what? hyakṣarātparataḥ. The highest akshara. Akshara is imperishable. So it is higher than the imperishable. And that imperishable is itself high or the highest. Still higher than that. Parataḥ paraḥ. Para itself means the highest. Paraḥ itself means the highest. Still higher than that. See, some may think this usage is not proper because there cannot be higher than the highest. If it is para, there cannot be still more para. And if there is that para, the first cannot be para. So this usage itself is not correct or absurd. No. So while studying Upanishad, not only this Mundakopanishad, but all the Upanishads, we must keep in mind that while writing or teaching Upanishads, it is something like speaking the unspeakable, writing the unwritable. See, how we can speak the unspeakable? It is impossible. So teaching Upanishad is just like that. See, what can be expressed through our words, that we can speak of. We can use our this capacity to speak. But what we will do when that is unspeakable, that which cannot be expressed through words, one which have form, one which have any name or any quality or any activity or any relation with something else, about that we can speak. Or some category, that also we can speak. Jati, nama, rupa, guna, kriya, sambandham. Jati is category. Of this category, that category, we can divide and we can speak about that. Nama, having name. That, with that time, that is Swami Chidananda Puri. We can say. And form, big, small, curved, square, round, like that, we can say. Jati, nama, rupa, guna, having any quality. Hot, cold, white, black, like that. Kriya, activity, that which is running, that which is moving, or that which is stagnant, like that, we can say activity. Then sambandham, having relation with something else. That object which is there on the rock, or that bird which is sitting on the branch of that tree, we can say. So that which do not have this, that is jati, nama, rupa, guna, kriya, sambandham. About that, how we will speak. And therefore, Upanishad says, yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. From where our words retraces, come back, returns. Of course, with the mind. Why and how? Unable to approach that. So that is the ultimate reality. And that is why the Rishi declares in the Kenopanishad, na vitmo na vijanimo yathaita danushishyad. I do not know how to teach. See, he's a teacher. Not only is he a teacher, he is the greatest teacher as he is a teacher of the Upanishad. So one who teaches is a teacher. And here teacher says, I do not know how to teach. Normally the student may say, oh, if you cannot, then I am leaving. I can approach another guru. You are an ignorant man, and that is why you cannot teach me. No, that is not the reason. Na vijanimaha, we do not know. It is in the plural form. It is not the case of me alone, but it is the experience of all the teachers of this tradition. That is why the greatest teacher ever and the first teacher, when we consider the tradition of teachers, Guru Parampara, we will begin that with chanting the name of Dakshinamurti. Sadashiva Samarambham. He is the first teacher. Sapurvesham api Guruhu. He is the teacher of the ancient teachers. And what was the language he adopted? How he taught? Silence was the medium. Mauna vyakhya pragatita parabrahmadattvam. Mauna vyakhya pragatita brahmadattvam. I am worshipping, I am prostrating before that teacher who manifested or who showed that Paramatma Tattvam through the language of Mauna, silence. He didn't use any words. He didn't utter even a single sentence. Immersed in the self and immersed in the Mauna, silence, he taught. So that is the first teacher. He was one established in Mauna. But how many can understand that? How many people will realize that meaning of silence? No. So he will descend a little and utter a sound. That is Om. But how many of us can realize the inner meanings and all aspects of that teaching? Of course, we can hear. So then the Guru will descend a little more. He will speak. And that is Mahavakya. The oneness of the inquirer and the inquired. But how many will realize the inner meaning of Mahavakya? Only a few, a microscopic minority. Only a few. Then what he will do? He will descend still more. And he will explain. Explain what cannot be explained through words. He knows for himself what I am doing is a stupid thing. This is the biggest stupidity in the world, teaching Vedanta. Because all others, they are thinking we are expressing the idea through words. And so all others are teaching and speaking. But here the teacher himself knows I cannot express through words. But there is no other instrument other than word. So he is using words. So in the Upanishadic teaching, everywhere, not in one single Upanishad, but everywhere there are limitations. Limitations of speech, limitations of word. So apparently, there will be many, many contradictions when we observe from outside. There we will see many contradictions in the teachings of Upanishad. But there we must understand this. We must remember this. Here Guru is speaking something which is unspeakable. And therefore, invariably, there will be limitations. And so it is said, parataḥ paraḥ, higher than the highest. Oh, you think about the highest? Yes. Make an idea? Yes, I made an idea of the highest. Then you understand this much, the absolute reality is something higher than that. Parataḥ paraḥ. And what is that para? It is aksharam, the imperishable. See, when we start studying Upanishads, or when we start studying whichever be that, a darshana, or if we are students of science, whatever be the branch of science, it's inquiry. We must consider and accept one theory which cannot be negated. And what is that? Cause-effect relation. If there is an effect, there must be a cause. Without a cause, an effect won't come. There is nothing such as accident in this world. If there is an effect, there must be a cause. So the phenomenal world or the phenomenal universe I'm experiencing and in which I am, many objects are here, entirely different. Many things are here. So all these are effects, and there must be a cause. What is the cause? Inquire and inquire. Go on inquiring. Then we will reach at Ishvara or Karana Brahma. That is the primary cause of all these manifestations. With that thought or that conviction or with that wish to manifest the universe. That is Ishvara or Karana Brahma, where the manifestation of Maya has happened. Then only that thought will come. So that is the para referred here, and it is akshara, imperishable, compared to the manifestations. It is akshara. But the supreme principle, the highest or the absolute principle, is even above that thought of creation. That is not Karana Brahma. It is even above Karana Brahma. See, when the innate power, which we are calling Maya, is manifested, then only we are calling it by the name Ishvara or Karana Brahma. When that manifestation, even that manifestation is not there, what is the absolute existence? It is absolute existence. Without even the manifestation of Maya. Or in other words, there is no differentiation as puruṣaḥ and prakriti or Paramatma and Maya. Then what we will call? We cannot call it by any name. See, even the Brahma Shabda, it represents that. Brahma Shabda is not the final, because it is Shabda. We are using a Shabda to refer to something which is above Shabda. Ashabdam, asparsham, arupam, avyayam. See? So, that is imperishable. Karana Brahma is imperishable, or Ishvara is imperishable. And this is even above that. That is the meaning of the Shabda, hyakṣarātparataḥ, paraḥ. So see, here in this mantra, many terms are given. It is not a sentence. It is not a sentence at all. There is no any kriya. There is no karta, karma, bhedaha. But many terms are given there. And all these terms are helping us to contemplate on the highest. Just for helping us to contemplate. Contemplate what? It was said in the previous mantra, Tadedat satyam yatha sudiptat pavakat visphulingaha sahasrasha prabhavante sarupaha tathaksharat vividha somya bhavaha prajayante tatra chaivapiyanti. So akshara was referred there. What is that akshara? It is something above our imagination. It is something above our verbal ability. It is something above our cognition. Because what instruments we have to cognize, they cannot enter that. Neither the organs of action, nor senses of cognition can enter there. Neither the prana nor the manas can enter there. Then how we will realize? So, for doing that discrimination, for undertaking that contemplation, many terms are given here. So a sadhaka can sit and take one term from this mantra. For example, divyaha. What is divya? What are the inner meanings? Divyaha. Just think on and on. What is divya? What are not divyas? How it is divya? For example, when we say it is effulgence or self-effulgent, what is effulgence? What is meant by that? Is it the normal light which we are referring in this world? Or with the help of which we are seeing this world? No. Then what? Existence. Is it existence in the common language? When I say this book exists? No. It is that existence which is giving existences to all these manifestations. So in that stretch, we can think for days and days together on this one shabda divyaha. So that contemplation goes and we are entering deeper and deeper vichara. That is the study of Upanishad. It is not something which we are reading and passing on to the next mantra. Take shabda after shabda and dive deep into different levels of that shabda. Then Shruti will reveal herself. Shruti will come and stand in front of us without any ornaments and without any dress. As it is. So for that, we have to contemplate. We have to dive deeper and deeper. So the vichara on divya itself, it will go for years and years. Then what is the meaning of hyamūrtaḥ? amūrtaḥ. What is mūrta and what is amūrta? Why it is amūrta? How it can be amūrta? What is the meaning of mūrta? And why and how he is added to that. So go on thinking. And we will reach the inner level of contemplation, more deeper level of contemplation. We can live years and years in that contemplation. So for that, different terms are given here. Different terms. The Rishi knew for himself. These terms will not name the absolute reality, because it do not have any name. For a transactional purpose, we have name. Everybody of us. I'm calling myself Swami Chidananda Puri. Guru gave that name. Why? To use in this world of transactions. To differentiate somebody from others. That is the only reason. Otherwise, I do not have name. It is attributed. All these names and forms are imposed. So knowingly, the Rishi is teaching all this out of his love and care and compassion. So we have to connect this mantra with the earlier mantra. So 1 and 2, we have to read together. Divyo hyamūrtaḥ puruṣaḥ bāhyābhyantaro hyajaḥ aprāṇo hyamanāḥ śubhro hyakṣarātparataḥ paraḥ. So next mantra we can take in our next satsanga. So if you want to ask anything, you can ask. And if I know, I will reply.
Namaste, Swamiji. First
Namaste.
question is from Dr. Kamalaji. Unmute and ask, please.
Namaste, Swamiji.
Namaste.
Swamiji, I just want Swamiji to explain the difference between Shukram, Shubhram, Shuddham. Because Shukram and Shuddham, it comes in Ishavasya Upanishad 8th mantra also. So what is there any difference or synonymous, or how can we understand?
See, all these shabdas used in Upanishads are just for the purpose of contemplation. A sadhaka can take one shabda and think on it again and again. And what is referred is that which is devoid of any name. So there are synonyms. And of course, even when they are synonyms, some minute differences will be there. For example, in the Ishavasya Upanishad, Shuklam, Shubhram, and Shuddham. These 3 words are used. Shuklam, Shubhram, and Shuddham. Shuklam is white. Shuklam is white. So what is white? Without or devoid of avidya, ignorance. That is Shuklam. Shuklam is also called Shukram. Shukram and Shuklam are same. White. Without avidya, without ignorance. Without dirt. Without dirt. Then Shubhram. Shubhram is glowing or shining. And at the same time, it do have the meaning white, glowing white. Shubhram. If I paint the wall with a shining white, it is Shubhram. When it is matte finished, it is not Shubhram, it is Shuklam or Shukram. So Shubhram is glowing, shining, having effulgence. So the effulgent. So many meanings are there for Shubhram. And Shuddham means pure. Pure. Without even the taint of any dirt, ignorance, decay, nothing. It is pure. So in a way, all these are synonyms. And from another angle, all these are different terms. Rishi is giving us out of his compassion so that we can do inner contemplation. So take each and every word, think on that. So that is the way of Upanishadic study. Namaste.
Swamiji, Nirmalam also is the same then?
Yes, Nirmalam, Amalam, all these shabdas are there. Nirmalam is without any malam, impurity. Malam is impurity. But without impurity means pure. So negating that, to show it is having that absolute purity, we are negating impurity. So Nirmalam, Nirgadaha, Malaha, Yasmad, Saha Nirmalaha. Nirgadaha, Malaha, without any impurity. That is Nirmala. And Amalam, without impurity. That also is pure. But see, when we say Amalam, it means already it is and it was pure. It was pure. But when we say Nirmalam, there is an inner meaning. We are removing the malam, removing the impurity. How? Through our contemplation. Because we are attributing all this body, mind, intellect, complex on the existence absolute, and thereby we are making so many impurities.
Yeah.
Now we are negating. This is not, this is not, this is not. And that is how we are realizing it is Nirmalam. Namaste.
Swamiji, we can see the Samadhi Mandir of Madhavananda Swamigal behind. Could you please share some details about him?
Actually, I know this much. He was a great saint, a great sannyasi. And he was a great scholar. Great scholar. Just 1 minute, I will stop now. And I will ask somebody to take one book, just to show that, not for my reference, just to show the great work he has done in the Gujarati language. So just 1 minute. So he was a great saint. Madhavanandaji, actually, he came from Kerala. He was a Malayali by birth. And we do not know much about his pre-monastic life. About his pre-monastic life, we do not much. However, he was absorbed in his tapasya. In the early years of 1900s, and by the year 1920-30, he was famous here. He was living on the banks of Narmada, and many years he was living in the place Chanod. It's on the bank of Narmada. And when he was living in the Mahadeva temple of Kheda, he started writing Vedartha Chintamani. That book I will show you. Vedartha Chintamani. So in 1937 or 38, Swamiji reached here at Ahmedabad, and there is a Vaidyanath Mandir, and he was living in that temple. And in 1939, he started living at this place where this Madhavananda Ashram is situated now. 1939. Then it was only a thatched shed, and started constructing an ashram, of course, with the help of devotees and public. And in 1941, he started building permanent structure here. Even though he came from Kerala and he was a Malayali by birth, he was a great scholar of Sanskrita and a deep knower of Vedas and Vedanta and all darshanas. And in Gujarati, he has written Vedartha Chintamani. I can show you the book. This is Vedartha Chintamani, volume 1, then volume 1, volume 2, and volume 3. Big books. There, each and every shabda which a sadhaka must know from Veda is taken, and Swamiji explains what is the external and inner meaning of that term with the help of different Puranas, different Itihasas, and other Dharma Shastras. For example, take one word, Shama. So first Swami will write what is the meaning of Shama. And then different quotations from Veda, Vedanta, Upaveda, Purana, Itihasa, Dharma Shastra, like that, regarding Shama. In that way, different words are explained here. And with this book, we can go into the study of Vedas. The Vedartha Chindamani it is. And Swamiji entered Mahasamadhi in the year 1948. It was on the day of Guru Purnima. It was on the day of Guru Purnima. So by that time, Swamiji was very famous here. Here means whole Gujarat. And especially this place. And so many devotees were there. And it was a Guru Purnima day. That is 20th of July, 1948. So many devotees came to the ashram. And after puja and satsang, Swamiji himself spoke in that occasion. He did that satsanga. And after that, all were given food, prasada. Prasada was distributed. And it was Om Namo Narayanaya. Yes, yes, Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Narayanaya. So after distributing prasada, it was the practice of Swamiji that he will eat only after distributing prasada to everybody. And inner circle of devotees, they also used to eat with Swamiji. That was the practice. So they were waiting for Swami to have prasada. Then Swamiji called them and told, you go and eat. I will come later. I will have later. Not I will come later, I will have later. You go and eat. Then they said, no, Swamiji, it is our practice. We are eating together. After distributing prasada to everybody else, those who came from outside, it is our practice. We are sitting together and eating. Then Swamiji said, no, today you eat. Don't wait for me. So, obeying Swamiji, some had prasada, but some didn't obey that. They waited for Swamiji to come. Swamiji entered the room and he sat there. After 1-2 hours, nobody was having the, nobody dared to open that. Because Swamiji was that much loving, that much caring, but at the same time, that seriousness he had. So even the inner circle of devotees were not ready to open. After 2-3 hours, one mother, her name is Bhagavati, she opened the door and she saw Swamiji sitting in the erect pose, in the Padmasana, he was sitting. Then she thought Swamiji will be doing or immersed in dhyana, so I must not make any sound, and she came out. But after 1 or 1.5 hours, again they went inside. Then also Swamiji was in the same pose. Then they realized he has gone. So it was on the Guru Purnima day of 1948. In those days, Swamiji, that is Vimalanandaji Maharaj, he was not here. He was in a pilgrimage to Kailasa. When he came back from Kailasa, he knew that Madhavanandaji has entered Mahasamadhi, and he came back. And he only developed this ashram. He constructed the Samadhi temple, which you are seeing here. He was a great sannyasi and very great scholar. And this much we know, that name of his guru is Swami Chidananda Puri. So he was a disciple of Swami Chidananda Puri. Who the Swami Chidananda Puri was, I don't know. I do not know anything about Ramananda Puri. And from my own personal inquiries, I came to know that the pre-monastic life of Madhavanandaji was somewhere near Valluvalli. in Ernakulam district. The present Ernakulam district. But it is not sure. Our Swamiji, Vimalanandaji, one day told me, Madhavanandaji was a police officer in the under the Cochin thing. One day. Another day he told me he was a staff of Guruvayur Devaswam. So what is right, what is correct and not, I don't know. However, we are not at all concerned about the pre-monastic life. We know this much. He was a great scholar, great sage, and of course, tough disciplinarian. So only a few stayed with him and learned. He was that much tough disciplinarian. Only a few could stay with him. So Swamiji took sannyasa from him. But he didn't stay for more. Swamiji, our Swami Vimalanandaji Maharaj, he came to know about Madhavanandaji when he was studying in Kashi. That's a story.
Swamiji?
That's, oh, yes.
Yeah, whether this Vedartha Chindamani is translated into any other language?
As far as I know, it is not translated and published. If somebody has translated, I don't know. We cannot say for certain because it was published in 1940s. But it is not published.
Okay.
So our Swamiji, Vimalanandaji, actually he came from Thiruvananthapuram when he was a small boy of 2 years age. Then a dog pounced on him and he got dog bite. And it was proved that dog was mad, having rabies. And in those days, if such a dog bite gets gone forever, but his mother took the child and ran to Srinarayana Guru. And Srinarayana Guru gave some medicine. And nothing happened to that boy. And he was named Sambashivan. He grew. And when he was a student of 5th or 6th forum, there his family was planning to send him to English school. So it was the pre-independence days. So studying English was considered that much great, and it was a fancy of families to send their children for English studies. So this boy was rather reluctant. Not that he cannot study, but he was having some reluctance in going to English schools. And one day, this boy, with 2 or 3 friends, heard Srinarayana Guru is coming to some nearby place. And so they went. School students, in that school dress, with some books in their hands, went. And they saw Srinarayana Guru sitting on a chair. And so many people were there around him. All were prominent in the society. So how these children can approach him? This was the doubt. Of course, it is not possible because Guru was circled by so many prominent people of Thiruvananthapuram. And they are common, ordinary students. So these students climbed on a rock and made so many noises just to attract the attention of Srinarayana Guru. Then he called them. Then they went there and he gave bananas to them. And after giving banana to Sambashivan, Chidananda Guru said, you must learn Samskrita. You must learn Samskrita, this much. Then Sambashivan went back home and said, Chidananda Guru, we met Chidananda Guru and he said this. Then without any doubt, the family changed their plan and they sent him to Samskrita school. That Samskrita school is now the College of Sanskrit in Tiruvandhuram. And after completing the school studies, that is equivalent to the Prakshastri of the present day, that is 12th. An inner urge came, I must learn Samskrita more. And he knew that the apt place for studying Samskrita is Kashi. In those days, Kashi was a place of scholars and Samskrita studies. So without asking anybody's permission, without saying anybody, without getting permission from home, he just dropped off. And he reached Kashi. And somehow he met some Mahatmas from Kerala, one Atmananda and one Shankarananda. Shankarananda Swami was a disciple of Sridharana Guru. So this boy said, I came for Samskrita studies. Then they asked, how you are going to study? As a normal student or as a sannyasi? Till then he was not thinking about sannyasa. What is sannyasa? There was no idea. But they asked, how are you going to study Samskrita? As a normal student or as a sannyasi? Then immediately answer came from inside sannyasi. Then they said, then you come tomorrow morning, you will get sannyasa diksha. This boy was not ready for accepting sannyasa. But next day, he became a sannyasi and started studying Samskrita. So he joined in the university and learned Shastri in Vedanta and Darshana. And while he was studying there, he heard from one Swami, if you want to see a real sannyasi, a great scholar, there is one, Madhavananda Swami, and he is staying at Gujarat. So if you want to have his darshan, you can go to Gujarat. So from Kashi, he ran to Gujarat. And he reached Madhavananda Swami and he prostrated. Then he asked all details. Then he initiated him in the formal way to sannyasa. And he became Swami Vimalananda Puri. Then Madhavanandaji shouted, you must complete your Shastri course. You must go back. No, Swami, I am staying here to serve you. No, it will be a disturbance for me. You serve yourself first. Then you serve me. First you serve yourself. Then serve others. Then you go. Then Swamiji went back to Kashi and they completed his Shastri and again came back to Gujarat and stayed for some weeks or some months with the Swamiji. And then he went out for a pilgrimage with the permission of Swamiji, of course. And after Swamiji's Samadhi, he came back and he established this Madhavananda Ashram. So till his Mahasamadhi in the year 2009, he developed all this ashram and he was here. I reached here in the year 2017. So these are all about Madhavanandaji and something about Vimalanandaji also. Namaste. Now we can conclude and we can continue in our next sitting. Om Bhadram Karnebhi Shrunuyama Deva Bhadram Pashe Makshabhiryajatra Sthirairangai Stushtuvam Sustanobhir Vyashema Deva Hitam Yadayuhu Swastina Indro Vridhashravaha Swastina Puruṣaḥ Vishwavedaha Swastina Starkshyo Arishtanemi Swastina Brihaspati'r Dadhatu Om Shanti 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 Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.